turned wrenches, one broke bone. Yeah. Both occasionally break the rules. Maintainer and defender, scars we don't show. Blood from the war still stuck in our soul. Truth in the glass for the nights we don't sleep. Warriors of whiskey for the brothers we keep. Warriors and whiskey. Steel and smoke, don't test me. Warriors and whiskey. Built from grit, not pretty. Crack the bottle, lock it in, let's go.
What's up, guys? I'm Matt,
I'm Hayden.
and this is Warriors and Whiskey Real Talk Podcast, Episode 3.
Take 7.
Yep.
But before we get going, sorry, y'all. There's a little bit of frustration in both of our voices because of the amount of just technical difficulties that two idiots are having trying to figure this out. I carry a gun for a living. He turns wrenches for a living. We need us a Jamie.
Yeah.
We need somebody in the background that can just do all this technical bullshit for us.
Yeah, because it's been a headache. It certainly has, man. But, we got, I think we got a good thing going.
Yeah, we do. It's a lot of fun.
For sure. And then, good news, we actually have a title for this podcast.
Do we?
Because we actually thought about this ahead of time. Yeah, man. We're going to title this podcast Precision in the Long Game. We're going to get into what all this means and what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But first, we got to pick a bottle.
Yeah. I picked on the last episode.
Yep.
So it's your turn.
Yep. So I'm going to try to pick something that kind of has something to do with what we're talking about. So I'm going to go with that Eagle Rare 10-year back there. You might have to get up to get it, though.
Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second. Don't turn my mic off. That would make me super happy. Here we go. This one?
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Ooh, boy. All right. Let's see. Probably should have taken the wrapper off before we started, but it'll be okay. But
This is actually one of my favorite bottles, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
When I first started getting into bourbon, this is what I was always after.
yeah, for sure. All right. I'm going to see if we can get the cork pop on audio. I heard it. We'll have to see if it came out. So, all righty. I'm going to get a little bit more of a healthier pour today because it's been a long day.
Yeah, for you, for sure.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
This poor bastard's been dealing with work stuff, which we are not going to get into. And then on top of that, the technical difficulties that I was just explaining. He's been, it's like a Tasmanian devil running around here in a flannel shirt.
Yeah, man. It's been a day, but this is a great way to end a day, though. So,
Hand me that cork.
yeah. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
And then if you want to put that bottle out there somewhere where it's not going to block us or block you.
I wouldn't be a bad thing if it did.
All right. Well,
Cheers, brother.
cheers, brother. Here's to better days.
Yes, cheers,
And
y'all.
it's Whiskey Wednesday.
It is Whiskey Wednesday.
Cheers, y'all.
So good.
Man.
So good.
Yeah. That just made my day.
Yeah, just like nice little Kentucky
Instantly,
hug.
it was
got
an
that-
instant switch.
Yeah.
Yes. It gives you that nice little hug, So, little bit facts about Eagle Rare. It's a 10-year bourbon. So it takes 10 years for it to get right. So it's a process.
Yes.
If you don't know what the process is of making whiskey, it is a long process. It has multiple steps. You got to get the mash right. You got to decide how long you're going to put in the barrel for. And there's so many things with the distilling process. I could sit here and talk about that for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bore everybody, but I was thinking about today, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to discuss? And what's going to really bring some meaning to what we're trying to do here? And I was thinking, we both love hunting.
Yeah.
And hunting's a lot like a 10-year-old whiskey, it's a process.
Yeah.
You're not going to walk out of your house and go to a spot and just come across a deer or an elk, right? Especially elk hunting. You're talking about a lot longer range.
Yeah.
So think about when you were growing up and then just learning to hunt. How long did it take you? Like, walk us through that process for you and
Man,
how it went.
I started very young. My dad is an avid hunter, always has been. My whole family, we hunt a lot of public land. We had a couple leases growing up, but I think I was in the woods with him carrying a Red Ryder BB gun, just like this one out here in our little decor section of the table, just so he could get me out in the woods. Eventually, I graduated to a 22, but I have to say I was probably like 7 or 8 years old when I first started getting in the woods with my dad.
I'm good.
I'm just making sure, brother. No, yeah, 7 or 8 years old when I started getting in the woods with my dad, and like you said, it's a long, not you got long shots, but it's definitely a long game. I started hunting when I was again 7 or 8, and I didn't kill my first deer until I was 14. Also, held out for a buck. I had multiple opportunities to take a doe, but I wanted my first deer to be a buck. And I remember my dad telling me, "You're an idiot. You might not see a buck for 7, 8, 10, 12 years. We don't know."
6 years.
It took us 6 years, yeah. And I ended up shooting that basket rack 6 point that I have hanging in my living room with my grandfather's 32 special. And from what they told me, I was the fifth generation to kill a deer with that gun. That's how old it is.
38 special?
32 special.
32 special? Sorry.
I don't even think you can find ammo for it anymore.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's a historic gun.
Old lever action, iron sights. The front sight is actually a nickel, and the buttstock was redone because my great grandfather apparently fell off a cliff with it, and the gun broke. It broke off the front sight and it broke the buttstock, and he fixed it himself, and that's why he fashioned a nickel into the front sight. You can still see the president's head kind of on one side. Needless to say, the gun wasn't very accurate, so I was shooting at a wide group. We had to file the back sights down to get it on target. Yeah, but just a pretty cool story for my first deer.
That is cool. That's very cool. So how far away were you for the shot?
I'd say about 70 yards. 70, 80 yards. The way we hunt back home, we had a hunting lease that at the paper mill they leased out to us. Obviously, they own a shit ton of land because they have to have it for the trees to take down to make paper. They have a hunting lease up there that we all went to. It was 1 year trip or once a year trip. My dad, his cousins, his brothers, my cousins, all of us, we would all go. There'd be 10 guys in this little camp with a pot belly wood burning stove, no electricity, no indoor plumbing. I had to dig the shit house every time I went up because I was a young guy. But we would do deer drives or pushing. I don't know. People call it all kinds of different words and titles across the country. But basically, you set up a bunch of watchers. The other hunters sneak around the backside of a mountain and push it to you. My deer came running straight down the mountain at me, ran past me. When I started shooting, I shot 3 times. One at a pretty good distance, which I probably shouldn't have taken that shot because it was still bounding through the woods. Another shot when it was directly broadside from me to the TV away, so not very far, 10 yards. I nicked its belly, and it ran past me and stopped and looked to its left. And that's when I said, "Oh, you're done." Brought it up, raised a little bit, shot, and it went down.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah, but it took, you said 6 years.
Yeah, man.
To get your first deer.
First deer.
And that's actually, for deer hunting, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, we hunted a lot, man.
Yeah.
When my dad was off, we were in the woods. He'd wake me up at like 3:30 in the morning. We had all our shit laid out in the living room so we wouldn't wake any, like my sisters, my mom. And we'd go out. He'd make his coffee. I'd have like a bowl of cereal or something and throw all our shit on, and out the door we went.
Yes, it took you a long time just to even get prepared, getting all the gear together, you had to sight in the gun, that whole process. It just takes such a long time, and patience. So my first year was kind of similar. I hunted for, it was about 7 years. So right around that same time,
Yeah.
before I ever killed my first deer. I was in my teens, 13, maybe 14. And I started hunting with my grandfather and uncles and my dad a little bit when I was probably 7 years old going out, and, it took quite a long time. And I remember when I was a kid, I was so impatient,
Same.
just, like, man, I want to see a deer. I want to just kill something. I want to shoot this gun, and I didn't understand the process. And it took a long time for me to really get the concept down that you gotta enjoy the process, because I almost quit hunting completely.
I hated it as a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, I almost completely quit. I almost just was like, you know what, to hell with this. This takes way too long. It's too much problems. It's too much work. You got to get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. It kind of depends on where you're hunting, how long it takes to get there, but you got to get up real early. And you never go to bed early because you're so excited about going out hunting.
Yep.
You got to, like you said, you got to lay your gear out. You got to have your rifle prepped. You got to get your ammo ready to go. You got to pack food because you're going to be out there all damn day. It's not like you're going to be, just out there for an hour or two and magically a deer pops up, poof, right?
Yeah, unless you're hunting high fence.
Well,
That's a jab at some people I know.
but yeah, it took me, about 7 years. I almost quit. In fact, I had to get like talked into to just going, but I did, and it was peer pressure, and I was glad I did. And then I got the fever, and then it was like, oh man, you couldn't keep me out of the woods.
Yep.
But I went another 3 years after that first kill, and mine was a doe. I didn't get a buck. I was just waiting on a damn doe that I could shoot.
Yeah.
And I was shooting a 270. Well, I started when I was younger. I was carrying 243, and then once I got, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12, it was a 270. But yeah, it was another 3 years before I killed anything again. Killed a lot of time, whole lot of time, and a lot of frustrations. But I was sitting here thinking, a lot of guys in the military, they enjoy precision sports, because of the process. And I can't help but think that that's because we equate it to our military life.
Oh, 100%.
Because military is a process.
It is 100%.
Think about walking into boot camp, day one, right? You were not the same Hayden Granger as you are sitting here today.
No.
Okay.
That asshole's dead.
No. Though Airman Granger was not the same Master Sergeant Granger that was working a few months ago.
He had a long time ago,
And
too.
it was like molding clay.
Yeah.
That whole saying that pressure makes diamonds. It's coal, it's coal until a whole lot of pressure is put on, tons and tons of pressure is put on, and heat, and then diamond is formed. And we're the exact same way. And the military really did that for us.
Yeah.
It brought us into, who we are today, and grew us and shaped us and molded us.
You talk about precision, right? So not just precision in the long shot, but you mentioned BMT, and that made me think. Remember lining the beds up, lining the towels up, folding your shirts a very precise, certain way. Lockers, laundry bag, all of it had to be, to the millimeter, basically. If not, your whole bay was getting tossed and you start over again. And
Yeah.
I think the same thing with like precision shooting, because I love long guns.
Yeah.
I love taking those long pokes.
Yep.
And I know if it's not hitting the target, it's 100% probably my fault in some way, shape, or form. I either didn't check my equipment, I didn't tune my equipment, I didn't sight in my equipment, I didn't make sure I had the right round. It's all on the individual. Just like my military career is all on me. Just like everything we do in the military, it's usually all on that one person in that split decision that they make right then and there. And I think that's another reason why so many military members are drawn to that kind of sport.
Yeah. Yeah. You can draw perspective on, precision sports like hunting, like shooting, shooting. I got real big into long range shooting, probably about a decade ago, with a friend of mine. And man, any little detail that you miss, your shot's off. I remember one of my instructors would tell me all the time, aim small, miss small.
Mm-hmm.
English is hard. Bear with me.
Word.
Aim small, miss small, right? So if you aim for the whole head and you miss the whole head. You aim for the eyeball and you miss, you still hit the head.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of precision when you're talking about extreme long distances, 800 yards plus.
Yeah.
You got to think about the gravity, the effect that gravity has on the bullet, the wind, and it's not the windage of where you're at; it's the windage of where the target is, because that makes a big difference. You got to think about temperature and the trigger pull, the breath, slowing down your breath, taking that breath and about midway,
Yeah.
you just, and then you just squeeze easy. That is so much like life.
Yeah.
It's so much, especially in the military, there's so many steps to take to get to where we are today, and in the military, to make the rank, to get in those leadership positions, to learn how to lead, right? To learn how to be the kind of person that people want to follow.
Yeah.
Because that's important. That's super important. Is understanding how to be the person that people want to follow. And that's a process, because none of us at 18, 19 years old were probably the best people in the world.
I was. I'm joking.
You're full of shit.
Far from
it, right? None of us were the type of people that most teenagers, 18, 19, 20 years old, you think about yourself. And now look at us. We're probably the last person that we think of as ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's the guys to the left and right of me. It's the family. It's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the last person I think of. And that process and that, step by step, very methodical way of doing things that the military brings you, that just makes you think about the little things matter.
Yes.
The little things matter. Every little thing, down to your attitude when you wake up in the morning. Like, are you expecting to have a bad day? Are you pissed off because you're awake?
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion, I think that beats the alternative. Otherwise, I'm not waking up. That kind of sucks. But, starting your day with a good attitude, and then not letting anything change how your day is going. No matter what, no outside forces can change how you're doing it. And that's a choice. But you're not going to be able to make that choice until you are going through the process. And that's a long way down the road. You're not going to get there at 19 years old.
No, but that's the problem, is like a lot of people expect it. They expect that instant gratification, that instant, I'm going to be this person.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was one of the shocks for me. Like when I joined the military, I thought immediately, like, I'm just going to be doing this thing and this thing only. And then I heard about all the different certifications you have to get, constant, what is it, PME?
Yeah. Professional military education.
Yeah. See?
Not
Mass. Don't.
No, you've dumped it, man.
No, I'm dumping
You've turned military off. I've watched you.
Yeah, a little bit
changed
every day, brother.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it's good or bad. I think it's I would call it neutral change.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in my perspective. Your wife and kids may look at it differently and may think it's a good change.
They love it.
I'm sure they do. But no, I can tell your perspective has absolutely changed over the past couple of months from 6 months ago.
Oh, 100.
You're just lighter.
I just don't have to deal with the bullshit, man.
Yeah.
We might want to write this down. Maybe this is a different episode. No, but like talking about the long game, learning about those certifications, all those things that you got to do. And then BMT just doesn't make you a military member. BMT just gets you to the baseline. And then you have to build on that baseline throughout your military career, going to classes, doing PME, doing these different things, getting the certifications. And that's one thing I try to instill in all my troops is like, nobody's going to take care of your career except for you. And if you're going to do 20, it's going to be baby steps throughout the entire thing. And I would explain to them, I've been in for almost 20 years. I'm a master sergeant. Don't think for a second that there's a day that goes by where something happens that I don't know what I'm doing and I have to ask somebody else, or figure it out, look something up, dig into a reg. Because it's always, like you said, those micro things, those little things you have to do to get to that goal consistently.
Yeah.
And you just have to work at it.
Yeah. And you said a key term too, consistency.
Did I?
It has to. You said consistently. You said you have to do it
okay.
consistently. So
See, I don't even know what I'm saying half the time.
I changed the ly to a cy.
I got you.
Just because to make it sound for me, right? But no, it's a consistent. It's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a grind, and I think that's a lot of the reason why the civilian sector and out in the corporate world, they seek after military members because they know, especially those of us that stayed in for 20 plus, they know for 20 plus years, you consistently woke your happy ass up early in the morning. Mm-hmm. You went to work, you completed tasks in a timely manner and efficiently, and at least to a level that was acceptable, right? And you did that day in and day out. How many people out there do they get that walk into their buildings and interview that have that can prove that they can do that? Not very many.
Not many.
Not very many.
Especially,
and the ones that can, they're asking for a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a clue what we're worth.
No.
I'm like, hell, man. I'm worth about $4,000 a paycheck, $3,000 a paycheck, right?
Give me 3 hots and a cot.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Right? Like, we're used to living off of, not minimum because Master Sergeant pay ain't bad.
Oh, it's good.
I can't complain, but we're not used to having all those options. It's like, well, I'm going to work to the same place today because I don't have an option. Otherwise, the FBI is going to come try to find my ass. It's called AWOL status, right? It's not something that you want to get into, but it's interesting to see the change personally in myself, and then just in others. I have a couple of really close friends, one specifically that we got to Barksdale right out of tech school. We were in tech school together. And we were in boot camp. I was graduating and he was in his second week of boot camp. We weren't in the same flight, but like we grew up in the Air Force together and we were at Barksdale together and everything. And I remember us as A1C knuckleheads, idiots. And then looking at us now, he's now retired. He retired a year and some change ago. And he's back home in Michigan with his family. But we talk about this a lot, the two of us, but we talk about how we've changed and what it took to get there. All the shit, all the heartache, all the stress, all the screw ups. How many times have we failed and gotten back up? Yeah. Like, it's like, well, shit, that didn't work. That's not, we're going to have to change that. We're going to have to fix that, have to adjust fire, And it's the same thing with shooting. Right.
Yes.
You take a shot and you're high right. Mm-hmm. You adjust. You think about, well, was it my trigger pull or did I not take into account of something? Right. Did I not take into account wind? Did I not take into account that I'm shooting from a lower elevation or whatever? All the things you have to take into account. When you're shooting a long distance, it's the same kind of thing. You shoot, take your shot. You're not afraid to pull a trigger. You take your shot. You miss. Mm-hmm. Okay. No big deal. I adjust. I think about, was my trigger pull good? No, I probably need to, work on my breathing. I slap the trigger a little bit. I jerked, whatever. You adjust your scope. Do it again. You miss again. Well, shit, went too far. Come back. Eventually, you're going to find your sweet spot.
Find that target.
And that's a good way to describe at least my military career, is I miss more than I hit.
Oh, yeah, man.
Way more than I hit. Yeah. But when I hit, I freaking hit. Yeah. So it's really cool to reflect on that. Reflect on the process we've been through mm-hmm. and what's gotten us to where we are and the success that we're having now yeah. and then we're going to have in the future because of it.
Dude, that is something that I always talk to my wife about throughout my career. And even now, getting out of the military, retiring and getting into the civilian sector, getting into realty, it's the same conversation I'm having with her. It's almost like I do it subconsciously, but like the nerves for it. So like when we got my first set of orders to Minot, obviously her and I had that conversation like, the hell am I going to do up there? I don't know how to be a nuke cop. I've only ever worked LE and deployed. That's it.
Yeah.
Then you get up there, you take the shot, right? Off target a little bit, adjust back this way, off target a little bit, adjust till you get to that bullseye, and then you hit it and you got it. And then just like life in general, military career evolves, you make the next rank. Now it's like, how am I going to be a tech sergeant?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm still a staff sergeant. You know?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, just so on and so forth, and the way that it relates to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very methodical. And
For sure.
I think a lot of people, they get overburdened with that methodical process and they overthink it. And they think, oh, I failed on this one. Well, I must be worthless. I must suck at this. I can't do this job. They get down on themselves for whatever reason. And I try to have those conversations with people like that when I can. I've done it myself. I 100% have done it myself. But I talked to my wife, same thing, those conversations. She would do the same thing for me, try to build it up. Be like, all right, well, look, you sucked this time. There's going to be another time. And if need be, another time after that. And we could figure it out together. Like you said earlier, it's that person to the left and the right of you. I don't know how many of my brothers and sisters that I've leaned on in the service because I was sucking at something. Yeah. Couldn't figure something out. Couldn't get something done. Was struggling in whatever way, shape, or form. And then I'd go to, like, my brothers would come up to me and be like, hey, man, why are you doing it this way? Try this way. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, shit. That's all I had to do was ask the question to get that sight adjustment. And now I'm on target.
Well,
wow.
Damn, I wish I would have done that the first 5 times before I screwed that up, right? Man, yeah. It's interesting. We're both to the point in our lives and our careers where we're reflecting behind us. We're
100%.
thinking about all the things that happened that got us here, all the speed bumps, the walls that we've had to bust through, and I think we just need to be careful to not turn around and look that way, though.
I'm trying not to, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the advice that I've gotten from buddies of mine that are retired. Like, look, man, it's fun sharing a bourbon, sharing a beer, reflect on some stories. But unless you're like just doing that minor reflection, or if you have an old troop that reaches out to you, you can use that knowledge to help them out in some way, shape, or form. But if you dwell on it, it's going to chew you up, man. Because then you're just going to think about the military and if you should have stayed in and what you could have changed and this, that, and the other thing. And look out the windshield, not in the rearview mirror.
Yep, I like that. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, 100%.
You can glance every now and then.
Oh yeah,
but
don't forget what's behind you.
Yeah,
because it's worth it to remember. Right, learn from our mistakes, learn from the history.
Got to keep pushing, man.
But you can't. You don't want to turn around and walk backwards because you're going to trip and you're going to fall and you're going to bust yourself. Yep. You're going to walk off a damn cliff. Right? Yeah. You got to keep your eyes forward.
What did Joe Dirt say? You got to keep on keeping on, man. Life's a garden and you dig it. Come on, you feel me? Oh my God, I love that. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yep. It's been a while since I've seen that. I love that movie, man.
Oh my God, I love that movie. It's been. I'm gonna have to watch that this weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that this weekend. Maybe crack a bottle and sit here and watch.
Hell yeah. We'll turn the podcast on. Y'all can watch with us.
We'll just watch the movie together, right? Oh yeah.
It's like a sleepover.
Yeah. So I was thinking about one of the times hunting, little hunting story here.
Okay.
I was out with actually a couple friends of mine and their dad, or a friend of mine. 2 friends of mine, one of them was their dad. Mm-hmm. And he took three of us boys out hunting, and it was on their family land. I'd been hunting, a decent amount by this point, and I was early teens, 13, 14. And my buddy, whose dad we were with, he was 2 years younger than me. And anyway, we were out on their land, and it was real early in the morning. It was still dark, and he had wanted. He wanted to go to this specific stand. So we did. He was like, "This is going to be the spot. I know we're going to see something. We're we're gonna see a big old buck. We have seen this 8 point on the cameras like a dozen times over the past month. So we're gonna see him, right?" And so we go to the stand. It's a box stand, and so his dad lets me and him get in the stand. And his dad goes down the holler a little bit and goes somewhere else. And I think he just got into a tree climber, if I recall. So we're sitting there and we waited. The sun comes up, and we're kind of whispering because we're teenagers, so we're not super quiet, but we think we know everything. We got it handled. So we're sitting there and we wait and we wait and we wait some more. And he's finally like, "You know what? I don't think he's coming." And I was like, "I don't think he is either, brother." But hey, it was a good idea. I'm down for it. So we were talking.
Can't shoot him if you ain't with him.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So he was like, "I think I'm done. I think I just want to go. We're gonna walk back to the house. We weren't gonna go mess up his dad's hunt, and we were just like, we're gonna walk back and just go hang out or go ride dirt bikes or something in their yard." And so we're packing up, and we hear this rustling in the trees, and he had put his gun away.
No.
Completely put away, like unloaded it, because we knew safety, we knew gun safety. So he had unloaded it and put it in his case and zipped it up. And I hadn't yet. I don't know why, I just didn't. And then we heard this rustle. So I sit back down. I'm like, "Hey, shut up." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Shh, listen." We hear this rustling. So I'm like sitting there and I'm waiting to pull my gun up, see what's coming out. Rustle some more. And I'm like, "Man, oh man, what the hell? Come on out. Whatever you are, come out. I want to see what you are." Out comes this 8 point. Looks right at the blind, man. Right at the blind. And I was like, "Hey," because he was sitting on the floor. And I'm like, "Slowly get up. You're not going to believe this." He was like, "What?" And I was like, "He's here." Like, "Who, my dad?" "No, knucklehead." "Well, would I tell you to be quiet if it was your dad?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you serious?" It's like, "I'm as a heart attack, my friend."
Y'all are talking a lot in this situation.
Well, we're whispering.
Yeah,
right?
I know. But
He's probably 120, 140 yards.
I'm just screwing with you, man.
I know. But so he gets up. So I draw my gun up, and he was like, "Are you going to shoot it?" I was like, "You going to tell me not to?" I'm like, "Well, you're the dumbass that put your gun away." Like, I was ready to sit here for a little longer. So I pull my gun up, and as I pull my gun up, a crow comes flying in and lands right in front of the deer and spooks the damn thing.
Oh man.
And he runs off before I even had a shot.
Damn.
But my buddy, he was like, I'm keeping his name out of it. Just, I don't know if he want his name out there. But anyway, he was like, "Oh my gosh, you didn't pull the trigger." I was like, "Well, I didn't have the best shot because he was looking right at us. I could have hit him, but like I said, he was probably closer to about 140, 150 yards. And I was a teenager. I wasn't, I was a decent shot, but not great. I just didn't feel comfortable. I would have rather had a broadside shot, So I said no. And plus, I felt some sort of way to drop this thing. And he's been watching this thing on camera.
I would have felt a certain way too after I shot it.
Yeah, right?
Sorry, Dick. You put your gun away.
Yeah, I killed this thing, right? But no, it got spooked. And I remember he was so upset. I was frustrated. And so we were done at that point. We're like, it's over. We're history. So we walked back to the house, and his dad came back an hour or so later, and we told his dad all about it. And his dad was like, "Yeah, I saw him too. He was broadside to me about 110 yards away." We're like, "Why didn't you kill it?" This year, he's an 8 point, boys.
Next year.
What about next year?
Yeah. There's that long game.
Yes. And my buddy was like, "But Dad, but we could have mounted that thing." And he said, "No, we're going to let him sit. We're going to let him grow. We're going to let him mature. And then we will see him next year." And his mind was blown. I had some friends and some uncles that were, had already talked to me about things like that, about letting deer mature and stuff like that. So it wasn't anything new to me. But he was so upset. he was so upset. And I was like, no, just wait. You get it next year. Yeah. And it wasn't the next year, but it was 2 years after that. My buddy killed that thing. 10 point.
Nice.
Same deer.
Nice.
10 point. It's mounted. Well, I haven't been to his house any time in the past couple of years, but last time I saw, he had that thing sitting and hung up in his living room.
Yeah.
But
that's awesome.
He watched that thing for years.
Yeah.
And years before he ever pulled a trigger on it.
Yeah.
And he pulled it one time and the thing dropped like a sack of taters.
And I bet that feeling was so special to him when in that moment, man.
Oh my gosh.
I've never hunted a deer like that for years, but obviously like I've gone through a season without seeing anything. And then finally getting a kill towards the end of the season and being like, oh, all that weight. And now I've got meat in the freezer.
Yeah.
You know,
it's patience.
Yes.
It's just, it's not the right time. Timing's everything. It's not the right time. It's trust in the process.
I got a story for you.
All right.
It's a hunting story.
I like it.
It's about patience, but the complete opposite. Patience. So my cousin and I, he was like a brother to me, right? He passed away a few years ago, but we hunted together all the time, and he hadn't gotten a deer yet at this point in our lives. So we're hunting on his land, and he had this little swamp down behind his hand and this little tiny like hill. It wasn't quite a mountain, just big enough to be a little bit over a hill. I had it skirted around the backside, and I told him, you go sit there. About this time of day, they're going to be on the top grazing on this because there's a little flat. I will zigzag up through and try to push something your way. I come up over the hill. It was muzzleloader, so you could shoot a doe, you could shoot a buck, whatever. I come up over the hill. There's this big fat Sally doe just feeding, and I'm like, look at her. I was like, well, pull up, pull back the hammer. I squeezed the trigger. I had her dead to rights. Only my cap went off. So just pop. She looked up at me and I went, rah, and scared her. Yeah. So she took off towards my cousin. About the time she disappeared over the hill, I hear pow, loud as can be. And I'm like, well, that was fast, but hell yeah.
Yeah.
He just took that doe, you know? So I finished the drive. I reload, finish the drive, zigzag through just in case there's anything else in there. I get down to him. He's sitting on a tree stump. And I'm like, you shoot that doe? He goes, nah. It's like, you shoot at the doe? He's like, no, I shot. And then she ran by like 15 seconds later. I was like, so what the hell were you shooting at, man? He's like, that porcupine. Porcupine came out and was clamping its teeth at him.
Yeah.
So he blasted it because he got impatient and he got upset with this animal. Blasted this thing. No round in the gun now. Here, the doe ran right past him. If he had just waited another 20 seconds, 30 seconds, not shot. Patience, man. And when he said when that doe came running by, he was like, I'm a little upset with myself.
Yeah.
I think I want to go home now. 100%. We left the woods. He's like, I'm going to my room, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The how much hunting in the process equates to life, I think is really cool. You know, I mean, we could sit here and tell
story for story,
tell hunting stories.
I have 38 years almost of hunting stories.
Yeah, it's a lot, you know. And then I could tell stories I've heard from my grandfather and his brother and cousins and uncles and stuff like that. But that's something else, you know, like this. We were talking about in episode 1 why the podcast came about, and you know how I think whiskey brings people together. But hunting's another thing. Yeah. It's another thing that brings people together, you know, because you might never hunt with somebody, but you come out of the woods, you go grab, you know, breakfast or lunch somewhere, or at the end of the day, you go sit down and have a nice cold beer. Talk about deliciousness. A cold beer after a long day hunting.
Nothing beats a home-cooked meal out of the local diner.
Oh,
with a cup of just gravy coffee.
Yes.
Thicker than hell.
Yes. Yeah. You know, and just swapping stories, sharing stories. And most of the time you have no idea, you know, who the person is or where they came from or what they do for a living, nothing like that. It's just, well, we're both hunters, obviously, you know, coming out with.
You hunt?
face paint, like, yeah.
We just become
no,
best friends.
no, I wear this camo to the club, I'm on my way to the strip club, right? Strippers love camo
Mm-hmm.
and the smell of deer pee.
Yeah, it's actually my favorite.
Yeah, that's great, right? But it's about bringing men together, and that's where all this kind of comes to a head, and just bringing folks together, talking about real situations, real life, you know, sharing stories. It's really exciting that we're to the point in our lives that we have stories to tell.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, hearing my grandfather, even my dad, aunts and uncles telling stories and stories upon stories. It's like, man, I hope one day I have stories like that.
Yeah.
Hot damn, don't I? I've got stories that I can't tell, So it's really cool.
Yeah, man.
It's really cool. I've enjoyed the process, and now it's like, well, what's next?
A little bit of the same. It's just going to be
Yeah.
different stories, brother.
Yeah, that's true. Just making more stories.
That's it.
Just making more stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's been fun.
Yeah, brother.
It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Talking about hunting, talking about precision shooting, and how it's, equivalent to just the military and what we've lived for the past 20 plus years.
Yeah.
It's a really cool concept. It's a cool vision, I think.
I just like how it all compares to each other and it relates to life in general, and how it's really not that hard, man. It really isn't. I think we all get in our own heads a little bit, but it really ain't that hard. Sometimes all it takes is a little adjustment on the sights and you're on target.
Yeah. That minor adjustment,
Yeah.
like those micros.
Yeah.
Those micros. And you do that hundreds and hundreds of times, and then you get dialed in, and now you're lethal. Now you're lethal. And you can equate that to civilian life. You can equate that to anything out in the corporate world. I don't know shit about the corporate world. Don't at all. However, but you can equate it to just everyday life. Raising a family, relationships. Think about any relationship. It can be a marriage, it can be a friendship, it can be a relationship with your kids, whatever it is.
Relationship with yourself.
Yeah, so that could be that could be a separate episode.
That's the deep end.
Because, boy, I got stories about that.
Me too,
That can go deep. But those little minor adjustments along the way, in the moment you don't see the difference, you don't see the change, but over time, it's all the difference in the world. And it can make or break a relationship.
Yeah.
It can make or break success. It can make or break how you're doing in your job as a dad, as a brother or sister, right? As a, son, as a husband, as a friend, as a coworker. Those minor adjustments is what makes us better every single day.
Yep.
Outside of my office, I have a whiteboard. I don't think you've been to my new office yet. No. But I have a whiteboard, and it says one thing on it. It says 1% better every day.
Oh, I saw that today in the SFS, their little ticker tape.
Yeah. That you know where about that? He came by my office and he was talking to me, and he was like, I love that. I'm stealing that. I said, steal away, because it's not original to me.
Yeah.
But that 1% better every day. Think about it. If you can be 1% better every day for 20 years, how much better are you from when you started?
Yeah.
Like it's wild. That's all it takes.
That's it.
Step by step. Put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Every single day. Wake up, just wake up, and then put one foot in front of the other. Choose to be happy. Choose to have a good attitude. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
We got into it tonight.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I like it. That's what this is about. I love this. Guys, if you liked what you saw, like, share, subscribe. Even if you didn't like it, can you do those things too, please? Give us some comments. Let us know what you think about today's episode 3. And this is going to be a blast.
Hell yeah.
Thinking about what the future of this podcast is going to be fun. So I think we're done, brother.
That's it, brother.
All right.
Wrap her up.
Yep. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy, like, share, comment, all the things.
Take care, y'all.